Welcome back to Wilderness Wanderings in the Word. Today's September 19th, and our scripture is Ezra chapter 4 through 6 and Psalm 137. I've entitled this, it's a good word for you, Opposition Continues. Ezra chapter 4, verse 1 through 5. When the enemies of Judah and Benjamin heard that the exiles were building a temple for the Lord, the God of Israel, they came to Zerubbabel and to the heads of the families and said, "Let us help you build, because like you, we seek your God and have been sacrificing him since the time of Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, who brought us here." But Zerubbabel, Jeshua, and the rest of the heads of the families of Israel answered, "You have no part in building the temple of God. We alone will build it for the Lord, the God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, commanded us." Then the peoples around them set out to discourage the people of Judah and make them afraid to go on building. They hired counselors to work against them and frustrate their plans during the entire reign of Cyrus, king of Persia, and down to the reign of Darius, king of Persia. Do you see a pattern developing in our reading this week? Even though God had commanded them to rebuild the temple, even though he had provided all the resources, it was not going to be a cakewalk. Cyrus had given them permission to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. When the remnant returned, they found the city entirely in ruins, and the temple was only a pile of rubble. The remnant knew nothing about building the temple. They'd been in captivity for 70 years and lived in a nice, quiet place where things were easy and comfortable. Enter the call of God. Leave your place of comfort and travel a dangerous route all the way to Jerusalem. There rebuild the temple of your God in the midst of fierce opposition. The king of Persia has already supplied you with all the funds you need to build the temple. I want you to notice who volunteered to go back to Jerusalem. Only about 10% of the entire population of the Jews, though they were commanded by God to return to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, and though they'd been given everything by King Cyrus, only 10% obeyed. Why only 10%? Because the cost was too great, they esteemed. They would have to leave their family and friends and never see them again. Question: when would the opposition to the building of the temple ever stop? Answer: never. The remnant would face opposition all the way through the project. Their enemy would hire counselors to frustrate their work. They'd pay off contract workers to do everything they could to slow down the work and, yes, even bring it to a halt. This all lasted for more than 4 decades. If you want to follow God, understand that to do his commandments, you'll need the power of God to accomplish the work. They did not allow anyone else to join them in the work because they were not rightly related to God. You'll not have the resources necessary to stay the course if you don't walk with God alone. You can't ask the world to help you. You can't allow the world to help you because they will frustrate your plans. Are you still discouraged? Do you still feel like quitting? Have you reached the end of your strength? Then cheer up. It's time now for God to work through you. God, I need you more than I thought. Fill me with your spirit and strengthen me for the task you've lined out for me, because I'm at the end of my rope.